So as requested, this is going to be like an ASMR type of video. I'm going to be reading some Reddit stories, but I have chosen the Am I the Asshole thread because I personally love watching or listening people to read this thread, and some of the stories can be very juicy, and like I love hearing about juicy drama. Yeah, this is my first time doing this, so I'm sorry if this is not what you expect. I learn as I go, so please do let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know where I can improve. What did you like? What did you not like? I will take all the feedback on board. If nobody liked this, that's okay. I won't do this again. I'm sorry. If we did like this, please let me know what you'd like to see, like different threads or a certain style that I read. I tried whispering, but the mic wasn't picking it up and I don't have the time to adjust the settings. So you're just going to have to bear with me just reading it. And this video, the idea of it came from you guys, from complimenting my voice a lot, which I want to say thank you. I appreciate the compliment for my voice, as I actually don't like my voice. I'm quite insecure about it. So thank you for encouraging me to use it to make videos like this. So to set the vibe, I bought myself a nice little candle. So we're going to light that up and then we're going to start. Am I the asshole for telling my mother-in-law not to place her own gift tags on Christmas presents I ordered for my children? Okay. So basically, I had ordered all my children's Christmas presents online to be sent to my in-laws' home, as we were spending the Christmas there this year. My mother-in-law said that she didn't mind wrapping them all up before we got there. We arrived here yesterday and all was well. After the kids settled in their room, I got a chance to ask her about the presents. She told me that they were mostly all wrapped with just a couple she needed to finish off, and then they were stored in their basement. I did ask if she needed a hand finishing the rest off, but she insisted that I should rest after our journey. So I rejoined my husband in the sitting room. A couple of hours later, she had gone to take a nap, so I went down to their basement to see how many had been wrapped up. And like she said, there were some still left to wrap, but as I was checking some of the bigger presents, I noticed that they already had gift tags taped to them. When I flipped the tags, they read "From Grandma," on not just one, but on all of the bigger ones. So I immediately went and told my husband about what I just found. And he said that his mom had asked if she could put a few of her tags on, as she didn't want to disappoint her grandsons. My husband agreed that she could and told me that it isn't a big deal, and that this is the only time we will be spending Christmas over at theirs, as they live 4 hours away. I'm mad that most of the bigger presents are things that I had pre-ordered for a long time and put a lot of thought into, and had some toys personalized with their name, which costed a lot of money. Anyways, my mother-in-law came back downstairs from her nap, so I basically told her I don't think it's right for her to just do that without asking me also. She got super upset and told me that I was being selfish, and that tried guilt-tripping by saying that this could be one of the last Christmases she will have. She's old, but she's not that old, 71. She told me that I'm ruining Christmas already. I don't know. I'm trying my best to appear as nothing is wrong around my kids. I do feel bad and that I may be overreacted. I don't know what to do. Should I leave her tags on and apologize, or put my own tags on and tell her she should have bought more? This is turning into a nightmare. I think she should say like "From Grandma" and "Mama" or like "Mother." Just like say it's from both of you guys, no? Why can't we just collab? And I think it is true that like she could have gotten her own gifts for her grandsons, but I am also aware like with age you are able to afford a lot less. But I don't think that the bigger the gift is, the more cool and more expensive it is, you know? Sometimes a small gift is worth a lot more to the child specifically, because the child is the one that determines the value of the gift. But I don't think she's the asshole for that. Shouted at my mother-in-law over gift tags, and I don't want to upset my family for being unreasonable. That's why she thinks she's an asshole. No. Okay, raising your voice, like you can apologize. Like, I'm sorry, I raised my voice in the moment. I just got really upset by the situation. And the husband is the asshole for not letting her know that his mom asked him of that. She's the one who bought the gifts, from what I understood. And what happens in most situations, like this happened in my house, the husband did not participate in buying the gifts. It was the mother that planned everything, bought everything, the whole shazam. So the husband is definitely the asshole as well. Not the asshole, she's overstepping here and taking advantage of a situation. What did she actually get the grandkids? She shouldn't have asked your husband as well. As we are all aware, she did that just to circumvent you. Clearly you were the one she organized everything to do with the presents with, until she decided she wanted to put her name on things. Very deceptive of her and really shitty that your husband didn't tell you right away. I agree. Even if he was okay with it, maybe he should help more with the presents overall too. That's literally what I said. Yeah, it seems like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree here. Opie's husband doesn't appear to have taken any initiative or responsibility for getting presents for his kids, and still thinks he can unliterally authorize his mom to take credit for gifts she didn't buy. Not the asshole, Opie, and I'm a little worried how much nonsense you're dealing with in your marriage that you thought it was even a possibility that you could be the asshole in this situation. Entirely agree. Okay, that was interesting. Am I the asshole refusing to ban alcohol from Christmas? I feel like a lot of people enjoy alcohol during Christmas, but that doesn't necessarily not make it Christmas. Some people think it's nicer to celebrate something with alcohol. I did get that, not the asshole, but I'll be the one to decide that. We have a large mixed family. My wife is Mexican, so her family starts dropping in on Christmas Eve and we host them, and my family Christmas Day for dinner. It could be over 50 people in and out of our house in those 2 days. Those are big families. There's lots of mixing of cultures because who doesn't want tequila and tamales? I'm often gifted drinks and my wife likes wine. My older brother Mike started dating this new woman who has children. I'll call her Jenny. Jenny wants to bring her 3 children and I have only met briefly over the summer. But she said her children are not allowed around people who drink. So now Mike wants me to ban all alcohol at Christmas from my house. My mother backs him up, saying it's unnecessary to have all those people around children, even though I have 2 of my own. And my children love the loud bustling house at Christmas and playing with their cousins. There's no other children on my side of family, so Jenny's children like my family. I need to adjust my holiday to make Jenny and them feel welcome. First of all, no, you're hosting. You set the boundaries, the rules. If you want to set a rule where there's no alcohol, you should host a dinner. And plus you're dating this new woman. You're not married yet. I don't know. Like, if you're going to be accepting every time Mike has a new girlfriend, you're going to have 50 different rules in the house. Another issue I was told to talk about with my kids is Santa. Santa wasn't really a thing in my wife's culture, so we did away with it. Before my wife felt like the whole naughty and nice thing with Santa doesn't go with her Mexican Catholic roots. So Santa is more of a symbol of Christmas for my children and the cousins. I understand that Jenny is really into Santa and Elf on the Shelf. My children are 5 and 8 and Jenny is around 4 to 10. And I don't know how my children or their cousins would react to all of this if it was brought up. I said maybe next year, maybe my mom could host our family's Christmas, or my brother or Jenny could, if they're still together. That's what I'm saying. But I don't feel like setting rules in my house about tequila and making kids pretend Santa and the Elf on the Shelf is real, or talk to their cousins about it. It sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. So I think Jenny and her kids should stay at home. I agree. Yeah, he deserves not the asshole. Let's see what other people say. He felt like he's the asshole because he felt bad that Jenny thinks she isn't welcomed at our family Christmas party, and she'll probably take it personally. Not the asshole, it's your house, therefore your party. If this woman doesn't like that, she can either stay home or find a babysitter and have fun for the first time in her life. I feel bad for her and her kids for being excluded, but she can't really expect me to go around policing my guests over drinks. That is true. Jenny is a hang-on at best here and does not take shit. I could not care less about Santa, and I'm very curious about her thinking here, as I was raised Catholic and it was all about constantly reminding people that they're naughty. Catholics have a whole different guilt system going on. Maybe that's why my wife's family doesn't do Santa. I also think the idea of Elf on the Shelf is creepy and manipulative. Jenny seems high maintenance and reeking of entitlement. Ooh. Her priority as a newcomer to this large family should be to get to know others, insert herself and her children into what seems a wonderfully blended group of adults and children. Her approach is hostile, rude, impolite, oblivious to others, self-centered. She is setting conditions to people she doesn't know. Whoa. I commend your brother for being so accommodating to a woman he has been dating since not long ago, but mi casa is no Jenny's casa. Jenny's can opt for celebrating Christmas in the absence of her home, and thus protect her children from, oh, the horror, adults celebrating a centuries-old tradition. In the presence of their children, united by love, tolerance, curiosity to know one another. Not the asshole, and stand your ground. Whoa, that is Artistic Thoughts 7309 said it so well. Am I the asshole for selling my house out from under my son and his girlfriend? I love family drama. Got the Not the Asshole title. I, 60 female, have rented my second home to my son Joe, 34 male, for the last 7 years. Initially, he shared the home with friends at a below market rent. Leases included agreements for periodic, reasonable increases. Most of my retirement nest egg was in at that home, and I was clear that if there was ever any risk to the investment, I would have to sell immediately. Once I lost the homeowner's insurance as they were not properly maintaining the house, we made corrections and got it reinstated. Twice, I lost my job and struggled to pay the mortgage on the house and my primary residence, but was able to quickly find another job and cover expenses. Fair play. Each of these instances prompted a conversation that they should prepare for the house to be sold if I could not resolve the problem. I planted the seed with my son that he should be saving money in case he wanted to buy the house someday. And this is where I might be the asshole. He initially said he was not interested, but 2 years ago his girlfriend, 32 female, moved in, and he showed more interest. I was very happy for them, and I thought we had a good relationship. They told their housemates they wanted to live together as a couple and asked them to move out. She coordinated an effort to clean up the house and maintain it better, which made me very happy. Then our neighborhood started changing. Investors were buying up properties at hugely inflated prices and mostly renting them out. Some homes are vacant for a long time before being rented. There was a shooting a block away. It was time to get out of that neighborhood and take advantage of the higher market prices. I spoke to Joe and his girlfriend in the fall of 2023 and explained why they should start making plans to be out by the fall of 2024. We briefly discussed their financial situation. They were not able to buy the house, and possibly never could at the going rate. The value of homes had more than doubled in a year, and that market was not going to sustain itself much longer. Everything instantly changed. She was openly rude to my face and via text. When they moved out, they left some petty, vindictive messages around the house. They refused to give anyone in the family their new address. In 2017, I had promised Joe a portion of the profit when I sell. The day after I wrote him the check, he changed his phone number. He had gotten no contact and broken my heart. His father, 71 male, my ex, told me that Joe eventually called him, but still won't give his address. He told my ex if I ever got his number that he would just change it again and never trust him. He said they're cutting me out of their life because I sold the house out from under them. Am I the asshole here? Not at all. I think that's just very privileged behavior from her son. Like, you were telling him to save money anyway. I think he should have started that before you told him to. Even if he was not interested, I think he should have started saving money for a house. Like, the house did not have to be that specific house. Could be in any house, but like, you have to save to settle in life eventually. Yeah, and the fact that he was not maintaining the house properly already showed his lack of care and appreciation that you were giving it to him below the market rent. And he was like living the life, privileged life, didn't give a fuck about what happened to the house, and you had to make corrections to get your insurance reinstated. And that only when he got a girlfriend, his girlfriend took the responsibility to maintain the house. He still barely did shit. And he only planned on saving and buying a house because he got a girlfriend. Like, he's not looking at the bigger picture, even if he was single, you know? You gave him the chance, they missed it, and now they're pissed off. I think you shouldn't have even given him a portion of the profits. If that's how they were treating you, he did not give a fuck about your property. Why would you give him the money? He just used you. I don't think he saw you as a mother. I think he saw you as like a money bank. I might be the asshole because I told my son he should consider saving his money to buy my house when I retired. Not the asshole. You gave your son notice all along that this was not a long-term solution. You talked with son and his girlfriend and they could not afford to buy the house. You kept your word all throughout this, including writing that check to him, which my petty behind would have not done. For real. OP, I am sorry you're hurting over the loss of your son and how he has treated you. Sadly, your son was looking for you to continue how things went, even when it got so hard for you. Son forgets that you could have sold the house when you lost your job earlier. What would he have done then? Probably treated you the same way. It sadly sounds like you'll always be in your son and his girlfriend the villain in their story. I'm so sorry you're going through this. That is true. Sound very ungrateful, subsidized your son for years with below market value rent. Sounds like he and his girlfriend were hoping that would go indefinitely. Maybe get the word to him that he should be concerned about your will. Imagine you cut him out of your will. I would. You know what? If this is how you treat me, you're not going to get another cent from me. Out the will. Am I the asshole for not allowing popcorn on the Christmas tree? Interesting. Not my vibe. I, 35 female, and my husband, 36 male, are hosting Christmas this year for my brother, 33 male, and his wife, 33 female. And their kids, 6 female and 2 male. Jesus, all these ages. So far, it's been pretty good, but there's one issue. Apparently, they usually string popcorn on their Christmas tree. My brother and I never did that growing up, but his wife's family did, and she has now gotten them into it. The problem is that my husband and I had big problems with bugs lately. We had a bunch of flies in our kitchen swarming around, ants crawling around the counter. We believe it happened because we had been busy and weren't able to keep the kitchen as clean as usual, which drew them in. We were able to get a hold on the issue by using sprays and fly hotels and picking up the slack on keeping the kitchen clean. And now the house is back to being pretty good and clean, and we believe that we can keep the bugs out by keeping the house clean. So we have made it a rule not leaving food out anywhere, and we are afraid popcorn on the tree would attract more bugs. When we told this to my brother and his wife, they got upset and said they always strung popcorn on the tree and that the kids would be very disappointed. We told them sorry, but we don't think it's a good idea because popcorn will attract more bugs. His wife still insisted that the kids would be very disappointed and that we were being ridiculous. My husband and I still think popcorn on the tree is a bad idea, but we are sorry to disappoint the kids. Am I the asshole? Not at all. Like the previous story, if you're hosting Christmas, it is your rules under your house. I'm sure they have a Christmas tree up in their own house with their string of popcorn. The kids cannot expect every house to just be the way they like it. It's like when you go to a restaurant, the food is not the way you personally would like to cook the food yourself. You have to adjust. Every restaurant is different, but every restaurant tends to sell similar food. I have never strung popcorn on a tree, but always considered that a fun activity for an outdoor tree so birds and squirrels get a treat. That's cute, actually. I would never want that on my indoor Christmas tree. Also, it's very rude of your brother and wife to insist and to keep harping on how their kids will be disappointed. If their kids were that disappointed, they can do that on their own house then. Not the asshole, but your brother and wife are. Compromise. Could be if they have a tree in their yard and just shrubbery or whatever to do it on that. Very easy to. Instead of popcorn, we use sealed treats like little Christmas chocolate decorations. We always had ones in the shape of little presents, bells, things like that. Or hang candy canes. Yeah, that's cute. Wrapped ones. Like, especially that you had an issue with like bugs and insects. You not wanting to risk a possible infestation is very reasonable. No need, because like infestations can travel across the whole house and like it goes from the tree to the living room, kitchen, and everywhere else. Are they going to pay for all the cleaning products? Maybe a professional to get rid of them? I doubt it. Am I the asshole buying a glass cane for my figures to prevent nephew from ruining them. I've seen many stories similar to these. It got the not the asshole title. I, 25 female, and my husband, 25 male, are big gamers and collectors. We have an entire room in our house dedicated to having a shared space to play games. That's so cute. On the end wall, we have a shelf where we keep our game figures we like to collect. Figures like old Skylanders and Disney Infinity figures. We are currently working on completing both of these sets. My sister, who we'll call Jane, 23 female, and her son, my nephew, who we call Tommy, 6 female, live 2 states over, which means that they only come to visit when they have to stay with my husband and I. I'm sorry, Jane is 23 and has a son who's 6. So she had a child at 17? I'm 22 and child free. Jesus. Just had to say that. I repeatedly tell Jane and Tommy that the figures in the game room are not to be touched as they are collectibles in the works. And I'm sure they cost a lot of money, no? Jane brushed this off and let Tommy play with these figures against my request. It wasn't until Tommy broke the head of my Violet from the Incredibles figure, due to her neck being very thin compared to the size of her head, that Jane finally scolded Tommy for touching my figures. This upset me so much, I had to lock myself in my bedroom to cool off. All is well, as my husband surprised me with a new one for my birthday the month following. Once they headed back home from my house after Thanksgiving, I decided I needed to take the extra step if my wishes could not be followed. I went on Amazon and bought a large glass display case with a lock on the doors, like a trophy case you would see in a school. I neatly arranged the Skylanders, Disney Infinity figures, and the Amiibos on their own shelves. Since it is around Christmas time, my sister has once again come to stay in home with my nephew. It was to his very unpleasant surprise when he entered our game room to see this newly locked display case. He begged me to open it so he can play with the figures, and I repeatedly told him about all the other games he could play. Jane says I've gone too far purchasing a large display case for my toys, so I can, as she puts it, lock up the one thing Tommy enjoys playing with when he visits. She also has her mother on her side, calling me to tell me to stop bullying my nephew. Am I the asshole? Edit, I do not want to lock the entire game room because my nephew loves to play our Nintendo Switch, and sometimes my husband and I will play Mario Kart with him. My nephew is very respectful of our Nintendo Switch and other games. For some reason, it is only the figures that are the issue. I don't want to leave him bored at my house, so I don't want to lock the entire room. Another note, please realize that yes, Tommy is old enough to know better, but ultimately, this is a result of my sister as a mother, not Tommy as a little kid. Thank you all for the kind comment messages. I appreciate them all. First of all, Jane needs to respect your wishes. You cannot touch this, you cannot touch that. What if you went into her house and started touching stuff that she had sentimental value? I understand Tommy's urge to want to play with these figures because to him, he's had similar figures that were a lot cheaper and directed towards kids. Yes, they look very similar, but for use, it's directed more for collections only. Collections don't necessarily get used, they're there for display. And the fact that he's broken one in the past is not a great sign for the future, you know? Some people, even a little scratch or a mark, I don't know, some dirt that you cannot rub off can lower the value of it, because some people do collect to hopefully increase in value over the few years. But not the asshole at all. You have given him so many toys, a Nintendo Switch as well for his age. And Jane could be bringing her own figures from her house for him to play with. Oh, he's bored of his toys. Get him new toys then. That is your son for you to take care of. Just because they're hosting Christmas doesn't mean that all of a sudden they have to take care of him entirely. Top 1%. Not the asshole. I repeatedly tell Jane and Tommy that the figures in the game room are not to be touched as they are collectibles in the works. Jane brushed this off and let Tommy play with these figures against my request. So, a clear boundary which your sister allowed her kid to breach. It is totally okay you brought the cabinet. When your nephew didn't listen, your sister should have stepped up, being a parent, and told him no. It's on her to buy those toys if he wants to play with them, or stay at a hotel where they'll have to pay for stuff he breaks. She also has her mother on her side calling me to tell me to stop bullying my nephew. So rather than do the right thing, she ran whining to your mom. Her reaction shows why your sister is a huge asshole and complete failure as a parent. Oof. But I entirely agree. This is going to be our last one. Am I the asshole for inviting our oldest daughter over for Christmas Eve dinner with the stipulation that her cheating boyfriend can't join? Ooh. Okay. I, 56 female. My husband, 60 male. Our oldest daughter is 30 female. And our son is 28 male. And our younger daughter is 26 female. For privacy's sake, we'll call our oldest daughter Kate. And our son, Sam. And our youngest daughter, Mary. Okay, so Kate is the oldest, son is Sam. Okay. We'll call Kate's boyfriend James. Of course, it's a J name. They're always red flags. So Kate has been with James for almost 3 years. They currently live together. We always had family get-togethers during holidays and he attended along with Kate. He always seemed very kind, polite, mature and down to earth. His family is very nice too. He and Kate seemed so happy and seemed to click well. From what she shared, they had excellent communication and never fought, and were even discussing marriage. About 7 months ago, Kate told me he had her ring finger measured at the jewelry store, and she was so excited. So were we. Unfortunately, 4 months ago, I found out from a friend's daughter that he had been having an online affair. Long story. Tell me the long story. The family informed Kate. She apparently confronted James and he broke down crying and gave her all the details. From what Kate shared, he gave her full disclosure, did not blame her for anything, took ownership, and he is currently getting individual counselling. He wants to work through it, as does she. They still live together. She told me he's going above and beyond for her to make it up for her. I caution her in case he does it again. She told me he promised her he wouldn't and apparently can't believe himself why he even did it in the first place. He reached out to me and my husband and apologized to us. He was in tears. So many cheaters promise that I'll never cheat again, and they continue to cheat. Like, a promise from a cheater is an empty promise in my eyes. That's how I see it. And I believe that if you cheated once, you can cheat again. I have huge distrust with that. With Christmas Eve coming up, our usual family holiday dinner is approaching. It'll be me, my husband Sam, his girlfriend, Mary, her husband, and hopefully Kate. I invited Kate but told her that this year we can't invite James. She seemed very upset. Apparently, the past 2 months they've been rebuilding things, went out on a romantic getaway. James is still getting counselling, gives her undivided attention and support. She said he acknowledged that it'll take a long time for trust to build back up. She told me if she attends without him this year, she'll feel like a third wheel amongst all the couples there. She said by not inviting him this year, it feels like her family isn't willing to give him another chance like she is. I'm not sure what to do at this point. I've spoken to everyone else and they're on board with not inviting him. Am I the asshole? Honestly, I would invite him. Like, all of your other kids are bringing their significant other, all except Kate. Kate has a significant other, of course. We do not approve of James or what he has done, but I think out of respect for Kate and like just keeping the vibes happy, it's Christmas after all. And he has been coming in every year for the holidays and he's been pleasant to have around. I think there's no harm in inviting him. Yes, the atmosphere will probably be a little bit more awkward, uncomfortable around him, probably like giving him the look of dissatisfaction, but that's a consequence of his actions. What if he genuinely never cheats again? They have a wedding, they get married, they have kids in the future. Like, what if this is a one-time thing? Yeah, he has no excuse for the cheating. I would still be suspicious, like, oh, is he giving her extra attention to cover up other cheating that's happening? I don't know. But it's being noted that it does not have enough info, but I think she is a bit of an asshole. Not a huge one, just a small one. I do get where she's coming from. Info, why didn't you invite James? I understand he cheated on your daughter, and that's not the answer I'm looking for. My question is, what is the reason you didn't invite James, and how do you expect it to play out? Example, my husband and I are still too mad at James for betraying our daughter to be around him. Him being there will make us angry, and we just don't feel like we can relax and be happy around James. I understand Kate will feel bad if we exclude him, but we're excluding him for us and not for her. If Kate decides to go spend Christmas with James' family instead so they can spend it together, so be it. What's most important to me is not having to look at that, James. Like, yeah, that's what I was saying as well. You're the asshole. You need to be in your daughter's corner right now. I've been through this and with someone very close. Her partner cheated on her in a way that went beyond online. And while we had disdain for the broken trust and betrayal, I made it clear that we did not expect her to just forgive him, that we'd 100% back her if she divorced him. We also let her know we'd respect her wishes no matter what she chose. Ultimately, she is the one who was most hurt by this, and she gets to choose how to move forward. I agree. She chose to forgive him. It took a lot of time to build that trust back up. We obviously couldn't just forget what he'd done. Neither could she. But if she felt ready to bring him to a family gatherings again, we would do our best to respect that and show her that we were in her corner no matter what, and trusted her judgment. I understand that this man hurt her and that hurts you, but they're trying to heal. You may not agree with that right now. You may never agree with that, but I think doing this, excluding him when she wants him there, may keep the wound festering. Your daughter, the one most hurt, is trying to move forward. If she can stomach living with him after what he did to her, I think the rest of the family can stomach it for her happiness during the holiday. Literally what I said. Yeah, I think this needs to be that you are the asshole, but just a small asshole. This is not, I've seen worse stuff happen. But yeah, hopefully they do allow him to come in for the Christmas. Is there an update on the account? No. Well, that was all. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you didn't, I'm sorry. Please let me know what I could do better or to, like what I can change to improve that. Yeah. I am not that used to using Reddit, so I'm sorry if some of the stories that I chose were not that interesting. Maybe some tips and tricks in the future will help me choose nicer, interesting stories. But yeah, as always, stay hydrated, eat well, sleep well, and take care of yourself. And I will see you next time. And if I don't, that's okay. Remember, as long as you take care of yourself.